Hello everybody! Okay, I did this super sparkly but short and sensible for a change look and I thought I would show you guys what I did. So if you want to have a good look at these nails, then keep on watching. Okay, so I have done my cuticle work, etched the nail plate, applied dehydrator, primer and a clear coat. I'm using my Glitter Planet UK pre-pinch stiletto tips. They are bomb.com, as Lorna would say. I love that saying. The C-curve on these bad boys is absolutely amazing and it makes your nails super sleek with a sexy C-curve and it makes them super strong. These are the stilettos, but I'm going to show you how I cut them to make a tapered square. You can get tapered squares from her. She does plenty of other ones. I'll put the link in the description box below along with my discount code for 10% off. If you look at this, initially I used a tip cutter on this hand and you can see a fracture down the middle like a crack. So don't do it with tip cutters because these are so pinched. Use your stalk scissors instead. Ha ha! Stalk scissors are amazing. That's what they're there for, just to bail you out. So just snip them gently. I literally snipped almost all the way across and then there was a little bit hanging, just twisty pull. There you go. And then I just support the nail while I file a little bit. Or don't support it when it's the thumb because I'm cack-handed. I'm trying to support it. So I'm just literally shaping that and I'll go through all the nails. I'll shape the side walls and the free edge and I will just slightly blend down the contact line on the nail where I've stuck it down. Just slightly. So I do that on all 5 nails. 10 I suppose if you're doing a whole set. Except I did my other hand like 3 days ago. The life of a nail tech. Well, I'm not even a full-time nail tech, but you know what it's like. You do one hand and then, yeah. Oh, I must say, thanks to my new EFILE, I've got my time down so much. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I did a review on it. I'll put it in the description box. I wasn't paid to do the review. It was literally just I bought it and I thought I'd show you guys what I bought. So you can see here that I'm ridiculously out of shot as I'm just filing in the side wall and free edge. Just checking there's little any hangy bits and just making sure that everything looks good. And then I just buff that contact line. Just slightly. Obviously if you're using hard gel then you need to remove shine from the entire tip. You don't need to with acrylic, but you do with hard gel. Would you like some hard gel videos? By the way, I am qualified in hard gel. Let me know if you'd like to see encapsulation of glitters and stuff with hard gels. So once I've shaped my tips, I clean my nails down with isopropyl alcohol and apply my primer and then a clear layer, just a thin clear layer, just to blend the nail into the tip. And I'm going to go in with my pinky first. Let me just get everything out and I'll show you exactly what I am using. So the first colour I'm using is Kaylah by Glam and Glits. I am using Glitterbells Clear. I'm using Neo Nails Frantic Fushia. I've got Glitter Planet UK Rockstar, check that out. I've also got Mike, which is like the super fine best friend of Rockstar. And I've got Tammy Taylor Disco Ball from their Superfine Glitters. So I'm doing that. I said I'm using Glitterbells as my core system. I think I'm going to go back to Trilogy. I am using Trilogy Nail Bed Cover Pink in this and I just love working with it so much. So on this pinky I'm just applying a full nail of the Kaylah by Glam and Glits. It does marble ever so slightly, but to be honest with you, you can either apply the bead, instead of putting the bead down on the nail, you twizzle the brush. It's best to look at Annabelle's page, but you kind of twist the brush off the nail so the bead sits on top of the nail, or just put the bead down like normal and just move it about and the marbling will kind of melt away. And it's such an easy colour to work with. I'm then going in with a super wet bead of this Frantic Fushia and oh my god, it is so pigmented. Neo have done a fantastic job with this colour. It's very affordable and amazingly good. Super neon, and when you put it under the lamp, when you top coat, it just glows so bright. It's proper like LED glowing. So I'm just doing a mishmash of the two colours, and then I'm then doing a glitter fade from the free edge up. So I'm adding a mixture of the two superfines with a wet bead of acrylic. So I just double dip. I go into my clear acrylic, into the disco ball, and then into mic. Then I'm going in with Rockstar, and I'm going to take that from the free edge back up towards the cuticle. So once you've got that wet bead on there, you can just go in and tap in with your brush into the raw glitter and just add some extra bits. And just take the time to move it about until you've got exactly what you want. If you just plop it on there, you're going to end up with a very lumpy, uneven nail, especially if you've got a really tight C-curve like we have here. You need to pay attention to the sides of the free edge and just make sure everything is nice and neat and as you want it, and as flat as you can possibly get it. So once I finish with that nail, I'm going to move on to my ring finger, and I'm using my Trilogy Cover Pink to do an extended nail bed. I still, when I go back to my Trilogy, I just love working with it, and I've been debating actually this week as to whether I buy some more Glitterbells or whether I continue using Trilogy. Because I've tried Glitterbells recently, and I've really enjoyed that as well, but I just always go back to Trilogy and love it. It's just one of those things. If you've not tried Trilogy, I would recommend it. I will leave the link in the description box below, and I do have a 10% discount code for them, so I'll leave all that information as well. So sorry that this is like mainly out of shot. I pulled my finger towards me and didn't realise, which is a pain in the backside, but basically I've just built a normal nail bed and I'm going to wait for that to set. So I'm going to go on this finger, I've dipped into my clear, and then I've double dipped acrylic. So I've gone into glitter ball and then into mic, alright mic. And I'm just literally mingling the two together and doing a full fine glitter nail. And then I'm going to go over the top of that with Rockstar, so we've got a solid, gorgeous, sparkly glitter nail. Obviously, if I don't get full coverage, I'm just going to go in with another bead, do exactly the same, double dip. And then once the nail's wet, you can also go back in with just raw glitter and pat it in if you want to add a little bit more coverage. Keeping it thin, patting it down, keeping it thin and close to the nail. And I'm going in with Rockstar, so I did pick up another bead, really wet, and dip it into the Rockstar, because that way then I can go in again into the raw glitter itself and just pat it in any areas that I need to, just like here. I absolutely love this colour. It's mesmerising, super mesmerising. The other one I want to do a set with is Bronze Me Up. I love that. So here I'm just doing a full nail of Kaylah. Again, as you can see, there's a little bit of marbling, but if you play with it, it dissipates really quickly. Working really wet, because this is Glam and Glitz. I can't even get my words out. This is Glam and Glitz, so I'm working really wet. It's so easy to work with close to the cuticle and to keep it nice and sort of sleek and smooth and not too sort of bulky. It's just so easy. So I'm just going in with another bead at the cuticle just to perfect it and just, you know, give it that little bit extra. And now I'm just going to double dip in my glitters like I did last time. I'm going to do a swooshy thing. I messed this up, right? I'm not happy with this at all, but it is what it is, and I've done it now. So there you go. But I was kind of like, oh, I don't like it. But hey, so I did that first and then went in with the Rockstar again, just on my brush. I didn't need to add any more acrylic to it because it was already nice and wet. So I'll go over that, add the Rockstar glitter, and then let that set. I guess my top tip for doing swooshy shapes would be to kind of picture it before you plop the acrylic down, which is what I did on my other hand, but then when I did this one I was rushing because I had to go and pick my son up, so I was like, oh, quick, 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 and I just splodged it on. On the thumb I'm doing like the crystal tip look, the glass tip. So I'm putting my nail bed down, but I'm kind of doing it at an angle and then blending it down into the free edge so that we can have that crystal clear tip with a glitter swoosh. Oh, these words, they sound so intellectually kind of amazing, don't they? God, I can't even talk, it's really late. Glitter swoosh, yeah, it's a technical term. So I'm just going to fill in any bits that I feel need a little bit more. The good thing about the Trilogy cover powder is any powders of Trilogy, you can work with them wet or dry. Then, sorry, that was my dog coming in, the cat flap, he's tiny. You don't have to particularly work dry or wet, it just does what you want it to do, and that is why I really enjoy working with it. So once I'm happy with that, I'm then going to go in the same as before, so doing the double dip with the fine glitters, doing a bit of a glitter swoosh, and every time I say that word I want to burst out laughing now. And then I'll go in with the Rockstar again and just kind of tease it in the way I want it until I'm happy with it. I love this kind of crystal clear tip thing. My top tip to get it like that would be, I mean, it probably can look clearer if you sculpt rather than using tips. I haven't tried it, so I wouldn't know, but I'm just thinking when you're in control of that base layer of clear acrylic, I would suspect it's easier, and I would suspect it's even easier to get it even clearer with gel. But it's all about not playing with your product too much when you're capping as well, because if you play with it too much then it gets really air bubbly and it just doesn't seem to do as well. So I did lay this down with a bead of wet acrylic again, but I'm going to kind of use that one bit of wet acrylic to cover the whole swooshy area. Oh my god. I'm trying to keep it, as you can see, as flat as possible. I don't want big bulky lumps of acrylic, so I'm trying to keep it as flat as possible. And then I realised I hadn't really gone far enough with the cover pink down that side, so I thought, well, okay, I'll just increase the area of glitter then, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now I've filed in my smile line. I'm going to do an ombre, but it's a vertical ombre instead of your standard ombre. So I'm going in with the Frantic Fushia here. I'm going super thin and wet. It's so bright, this colour. And I realise I've put a little bit on the side. I'll tidy that up in a minute. And we're basically going to meet in the middle and try and blend these two pinks. They are so different, but they just go so well. I love them together. So I'm using my wet brush to go and tidy up that smile line there. So we want it nice and neat. We're going to add some glitter here. So super thin, don't need any bulk. And that's why using a good brand of pigmented acrylic is key to keeping your designs thinner. Because if you have to pile on product over and over, you're just going to end up with bulk. Whereas if you've got a good pigmented powder, good doesn't always mean expensive. You have to try these things. Neo Nails is incredibly reasonably priced, as is Trilogy. And to be honest, Glam and Glitz is not expensive for the amount of product you get for your money. You know, you look at it and think it costs more, but it doesn't, because look at the grammage, you're getting a lot more grammage. So, and you can work with these powders so thin. It's really clever how they've got them so pigmented and they work so well. Oh, I'm getting excited. So I'm just putting that middle bead in and just blending that, and I will take it across past the central line that I've got in my head. See me just mixing that in there because you've got that marbling. So this is the Kaylah by Glam and Glitz. Take that up into my wings and then bring it down. And then just tease it into place, go over the pink, and what I'll do is, oh, there was a hair. What I'll do is I'll keep adding a bead of this colour and a bead of that colour until my blend in the middle is what I want. It doesn't have to be completely perfect because I am adding some glitter, but I would still like it to, you know, I'd like to look at it and be happy with it and not just cover it. And the key is really to work very thin and very wet, and then you've got the freedom to play around with it. So now I'm just going to put a little tiny weeny bead right up into that wing there. So simple, but really effective. And I'm just going in with Rockstar on this nail, because I didn't want that solid coverage of all the glitters, and I kind of want a glitter fade from the smile line towards the free edge. So I'm just teasing that into place with a wet bead of acrylic. Just taking the time to make sure you position your glitter. That's something I learned, I think I was watching Liz Guild, because I just used to kind of plonk glitter and then be like, oh, why doesn't it look like hers? And then she said once, place your glitter. So that's what I do now. Okay, so that full glitter nail that you saw, I'm now going to cap that with clear and press the netting into it. So it's really important when you do this that you try and get it done in one bead, because you want it to all be setting at the same time. I'm working quite wet because I want it in between all those glitters. But it really, if you can get it in one bead, it just means that that whole bead will be setting at the same time, so you can imprint it at the same time. Makes it a lot easier. Now, again, I wasn't happy with this nail, because when I finished it, I felt like I'd filed off too much, and there wasn't enough of the colour in it. It still looks nice, but it just wasn't completely how I wanted it, but that's something that I will learn about. It's the first time I've used my EFILE on a design like this, so I was just excited to see it coming through, and I just think I just wanted to keep doing it. So I was like, ooh, every time, woohoo, look at that, woohoo! So now that's started to set, I dip the netting into the clear powder so it's not so sticky. Otherwise it will just clag in your acrylic. And it's not too difficult to do on yourself. Just pull it in, hold it there for a couple of seconds, pull it off, and Bob's your uncle. There you go, scaly naily. Now I'm just going to do a wet wash of both colours, no particular order, just really wet, getting it right in those gaps that we've created. I mean, to somebody who doesn't know what you're doing, this process must look absolutely hideous. They must look at it and think, what am I paying you for? What are you doing to me? But we know the magic. So, yeah, just wet washing it. Again, look how well these colours work. Super, super, super wet. And then I will leave that nail to fully dry, and I'll go and cap the other nails before I deal with this, because I want those colours to set properly, to seep into all the gaps and set really nicely. I love this effect. I absolutely love it. I don't think I've done it before on my channel. I don't think I have. So now I'm just going to cap. Yeah, I used a humongous bead and it was a bit wet. I seriously rushed these. I got these done in an hour. I couldn't believe I got them done in an hour. But I did, because I had to pick my son up because he finishes early on a Wednesday. Goes to a special needs playgroup, which is pretty cool. So I was like, quick, get them done. But I think the whole speeding up thing is probably down to the EFILE. It speeds up prep, it speeds up taking debulking. I'm sure if I wasn't so clumsy, I probably wouldn't need to debulk, but there you go. So I didn't film capping every single nail. I was getting in a pickle with this one. I don't really know what I was doing. I kept getting distracted. I think so I was rushing. But I went in and capped them all. Now I will show you me filing in that mermaidy type design. I did tidy up this awful job at the end. I think where the tips are so C-curved, it just, because I worked quite wet, it sort of flopped in there and I had to get it out. It was really annoying, but that's my error. Just adding another bead there for the apex. Thinking about where I want my strength. And there we go. So this is me filing in this design, and this is so much easier, my goodness. I didn't have this on maximum speed because I was worried that I would just kind of go at it and take too much off, but just look, I love this part, just watching that design kind of pop through. I feel like I probably should have stopped filing, looking back at it, somewhere around here, but I didn't. I carried on. I just was mesmerised. I was just like, oh, this is so simple. I love this. If you are interested in learning about the EFILE I use, I've done a little review on it. I bought it recently and I felt that it was incredibly good value for money and works really well. So I thought I would show and share it, really. So yeah, just look, I just love this. I love this design. I'm in love. But again, now I'm over filing, you see, my error. Lesson learnt. I think I probably should have made my clear layer a little thinner. Again, lesson learned. This is trial and error. I've not done this before on my... I'm pretty sure I've not done it before. I think I've tried to do it once on myself, but I'm not sure. Look at that top coat. Oh my god, that's so shiny. I did add some Swarovskis. They were from Crystal Parade. I will put the link in the description box below. I think a couple of them are from the Glitter Fairy as well. I've just got a mishmash now in my pot. Just look at them. Oh, I love this set so much. And these glitters are just stunning. I don't know how she does it. They're so beautiful. My arch nemesis, not nemesis. Didn't like this now, sorry. And the thumb, and I think this turned out really well. I did put a slight amount of top coat on the underside of the nail as well, obviously, because it's the clear tip type look. And I'm super, super happy. I love them. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I will show you the end result, which you've already seen at the beginning, but I'll show you again at the end. Let me know if there's anything you want me to film, and I'll see you on my next video.